Coming up tonight on Business Live, Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry charges Bank of Ghana to act quickly and reduce the policy rate following a further decline in inflation rate for the month of July.
And I think that the signal is clear now. Now inflation is coming down. We have to stimulate private sector activity. And the only way to do that is to bring interest rates down.
We shall be discussing the feasibility of this proposal with an economist. Also in this bulletin, popular retail centers Accra Mall and West Hills Mall have been taken over by a South African firm in a new deal. We will tell you more on that. Plus, Ghana Mine Workers Union bemoans abuse of workers' rights by foreign companies, warning that is affecting the drilling fortunes of the mine workers.
Rights, terrible. And I have enumerated the fact that today, the right to form and join a union is challenged. And it's challenged primarily because the labor market has practically been decimated.
We have details of these and more lined up for you. Please stay. Coming up tonight, Accra Mall, West Hills and Kumasi City malls have been taken over by a South African real estate investment firm, Lango. Now, this follows the completion of a new transaction deal worth more than $200 million. The move is part of a decision by Lango to enter more African markets with its retail business strategy. There is more in the following Business Desk report.
With the acquisition of Ghana's Accra Mall, West Hills and Kumasi City Mall, Lango's portfolio now comprises high-quality commercial real estate assets across Ghana, Zambia, Nigeria and Angola. The new chain of properties adds to its already existing business spaces in Ghana, including the Achimota Retail Center, among others. The company also has properties in other parts of the continent, including Manda Hill Shopping Center in Zambia and the Wings Office Complex in Victoria Island, Lagos. According to Lango, Ghana's acquisition is expected to position the group as one of the focal estate development firms in Africa, as it adds the Kumasi City Mall and Ikeja City Mall in Lagos, Nigeria. CEO of Lango, Thomas Rayleigh, in a release stated, the transaction is a significant milestone for Lango and not only fits squarely into their strategy, but is also highly accretive. Lango will now have $875 million of assets under management across 4 countries, with arguably some of the best performing landmark commercial properties across both the retail and office sectors in selected growth cities.
And to one of our headline stories as well, the National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is asking the Bank of Ghana to act quickly and reduce the policy rate at their next Monetary Policy Committee meeting. This is coming after the inflation rate for the month of July dropped for the 4th consecutive month to 20.9%. Chief Executive of the Chamber, Mark Bedwa-Boaji, says the Bank of Ghana has no excuse not to review the lending rate.
And I think that the signal is clear now. Now inflation is coming down. We have to stimulate private sector activity. And the only way to do that is to bring interest rates down, to make it affordable for businesses to borrow and expand. If we keep the policy rate at that high rate of 29%, I don't think that businesses will be doing well, because you cannot borrow at 47% or so to invest. So now in their next meeting, we are expecting that at least they should reduce the policy rate by 3%. And for me, once they do that, the commercial banks will also follow suit and reduce their lending rate. This is what we are waiting for. Now, the ball is in their court to also act. We know that they are using the policy rate as an operating tool to control inflation. Inflation has come down, so there is no justification for the central bank to keep the policy rate at that high. We should work at bringing it down and also giving some free room for some incentive for businesses to invest more. That is the only way we can increase the productivity, we can create more jobs, and businesses can expand, and the economy of Ghana will move forward.
And so we want to have a discussion on the back of this. Joining us via Zoom is economist Professor Lord Mensah. Thanks so much, Professor Mensah, for joining us on Business Live. Now, are the concerns of the business community justified, looking at the continuous fall in inflation for at least the past couple of months now?
Yeah, they do. I mean, clearly, after 4 consecutive drop in inflation, it is expected that the next meeting of the Bank of Ghana on inflation. But you see, Bank of Ghana is also being careful. I mean, because this downward trends in inflation that we are witnessing may not be the true reflection of the inflation numbers if we to assume, our debt payment risk ahead if they should respond, contemporaneously to the inflation, downward trend. The reason why I'm saying this is that, you see, whatever we are talking about when it comes to inflation is mainly driven by exchange rate, stability in exchange rate. And why are we seeing the stability in exchange rate? Is as a result of our debt suspension. And so if you resume your debt suspension, what happens to these numbers? So, I mean, if at the time that, inflation has dropped to a point and Bank of Ghana correspond, when it turns up that we resume our debt and inflation start going up, they may have to increase, the policy rate again. So they're also being careful and tactical as to the rate at which they react when inflation drops. And that is why, we're not seeing the contemporaneous, rising trends, down. So effectively, yes, indeed, it's a good signal. We are witnessing, downward trend in inflation. But the question is how sustainable it is. I mean, we may have to look ahead, and even though we have made a projection of ending the year with inflation of about, to do with resumption of our debt, which will, trigger, demand for a full-scale demand of dollars on our market by government, businesses, and individuals. And so when we have the full-scale demand for, exchange rate, of course, we expect that, the exchange rate react, which the Bank of Ghana is being careful, I mean, in reaction, I mean, when inflation, trends downwards.
Well, there's been other concerns from some market watchers who argue that, well, 20.9% is still on a higher side, meaning we are still not out of the woods yet. Therefore, more monetary tightening is needed to bring inflation to a sustainable level. Do you agree?
Yes, of course. I mean, our target, medium-term target is single digit. So if we are doing 20 and above, it tells you that, yes, indeed, we are not out of the woods yet, and we may have to do more. And hey, let's not jubilate, because inflation, once it's not zero, obviously it's a signal of price increase. And remember, we've still lingers on the market. If you ask the market woman, typically will tell you that price is not reducing. We're still seeing what? Price increase, even though the rate at which the price increases has what? Reduced. The market and the pockets of individuals are not numbers that we seem to be churning out. And then also, let's remember, inflation is a fiscal indicator. And so normally, we don't look at inflation, month on month, which more or less building up into, high frequency, kind of looking at inflation. But then we look at it end of year so that we can compare and see how, interest rate has fed. And then also, it's good that we are getting this report from the, Ghana Statistical Service to match up with what is happening on the market. But I can tell you that, yes, we're still seeing, price increases on the market.
All right, so quickly, where do you look at what's been the trend so far when it comes to the drop in the in inflation? Do you foresee the MPC reducing the rate like the advice the business community really is given to the BOG?
Yes, I foresee that, but it's not going to be below the inflation rate. Within this year, that's my projection. It's not going to be below the inflation rate.
Very well. Thank you so much, Professor Lord Mercer, for joining us on Business Live for tonight. Away from that, the Ghana Mine Workers Union has bemoaned the continuous abuse of workers' rights by employers, particularly foreign companies. They lament the once vibrant workforce of the mining sector is dwindling at a faster pace due to the poor and deteriorating working conditions. Here's a report. According to the Ghana Mine Workers Union, the transformational changes taking place in Ghana's mining labor market have unfortunately resulted in a marked shift in the nature of employment away from the standard or permanent employment to non-standard forms of employment. They argue Ghanaian workers are constantly subjected to acts of intimidation and victimization by employers, particularly foreign multinational companies, for voluntarily exercising their inalienable rights to form and join trade unions. Speaking to Joy Business at the first half-year meeting of the Ghana Mine Workers Union in Accra, General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Mumen Abdul Bana, called for a relook of the mining labor market to ensure sustainability and security of the mining sector.
Workers' rights, terrible. And I have enumerated the fact that today, the right to form and join a union is challenged. And it's challenged primarily because the labor market has practically been decimated. I refer to the fact that from 2017 up until date, and that is the period of the sitting president, businesses have become so fragmented. The production chains have become so fragmented, all in the name of localization or local content. I mean, the asset is yours. You are saying that you want an affirmative action policy targeting your local people when the asset is yours. And for that matter, they should depend on the crumbs. We, as local entities, just should depend on the crumbs.
Touching on the termination of the appointments of the 3 local union leaders of Southern Asogli for deciding to join the trade union, Mr. Abdul Bana made a passionate appeal to the President and the Chief Justice to take a keen interest in the matter by ensuring that the 3 union leaders are reinstated and their rights to form or join a trade union fully protected.
The Chief Justice needs to at least intervene, and we believe that her intervention will bring to bear an expeditious trial of the matter. So all we are requesting for is an expeditious trial of the matter. And I believe that, look, some kind of an affirmative or special attention ought to be given to this issue. Because we believe that it's an attack on trade union rights, it's an attack on workers' rights. And the courts owe a duty to protect human rights and to promote workers' rights, and for that matter, trade union rights.
For Joy Business, Pius Kojobaka. You're still watching Business Live. We are back with more. Hello, welcome back to Business Live. The Ghana Investment Promotion Center is pushing for local businesses to strategically focus on import substitution to support economic growth. Speaking to Joy Business at the 4th edition of the CEOs Connect organized by the Canada-Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Chief Executive of GIPC, Yofi Grant, emphasized the need for Ghanaian businesses to adopt growth strategies that will capitalize on the country's rich resource base. More in this report.
According to the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Ghana, alongside the broader African continent, possesses a wealth of natural resources that are increasingly sought after by global markets. The investment center believes leveraging these resources domestically could reduce dependency on imports and position Ghana as a critical player in global supply chains.
Indeed, in today's global economy, partnerships are becoming much more critical than they've been before. And joint ventures are driving a lot of the new initiatives that you see. And you've seen there's a record number of M&As over a period. But the important thing is the realization that the past 6-7 years have been trying years for the global economy. We've seen reports from the IMF and the World Bank about how growth in the global economy is going to trend downwards. And so that's a matter of concern. But Africa still presents a very important parameter in reasserting growth to pre-COVID times. And Ghana definitely is leading that charge with first a lot of our policy initiatives and some of the reviews and that we are doing with even our investment policies to create transparency, clear transparency and integrity in our investment process.
President for the Canada-Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Linda Vasnani, called for more joint ventures to support Ghana's economic growth.
Joint ventures are very, very important right now because it's important for Ghanaian companies to collaborate with Canadian companies. Canada has a lot of rich resources. Canada has the technology, and so I believe it's important for us to form joint ventures with Canadian companies so that they can bring in the investments, they can bring in transfer of knowledge, and also help our local companies to grow and match international standards. That's very, very important. And I believe we also have the resources, we have the people, and we have the stable political environment to be able to achieve this. And that is why joint ventures is very, very important.
The Canada-Ghana Chamber of Commerce CEOs Connect was under the theme Exploring Business Opportunities for Economic Growth through Joint Ventures between Ghanaian and Canadian businesses.
Let's now go to the stock market because Magdan Group is now set to list its salt mining business, Electrochem, on the Ghana Stock Exchange by the end of this month. Now, this is coming after clearing most of the requirements needed to aid the listing. Electrochem is looking to raise about $40 million from the public during the offer. Kweku Amprofi is Chief Executive of the Magdan Group.
We have hired professionals who are working on that. We do have pretty much everything in place. Our prospectus is almost ready. PwC has also come on board and done scrutinized us quite intensely and concluded the financials. So we should be going on the stock market latest by end of next month. We should be on.
For you, what is the major reason for doing this? Is it part of a regulatory requirement, a funding requirement, or that is where if any partners coming on board or support and they push the stock market idea, or really you want Ghanaians to share in this dream or this avenue, some would say?
We want to go higher than Ghanaians. We want every African to be able to own a piece of it. There are a couple of reasons why we're going on the stock market. One is that we want the company to be a company that's owned by everybody and not owned by a single person. If you've ever been to the mine, you see how vast and how huge the mine is. It takes you 2 days to tour the entire mine. You can tour the whole place in a day, just based on the size, the sheer size of what we have there. So we're trying to create something that everybody can be a part of.
We'll go into the market for several reasons. Some will be just by introduction, listing. Some will be by raising capital. Some will be by just to show that it's indigenously owned by a mix of investors and all the rest. So would there be a component of this exercise where you will be raising funds through the listing, or what?
Yes, absolutely. We're definitely raising capital. We have raised some money already through the Mineral Income Investment Fund, MIF. MIF has given us some money. Prior to MIF coming on board, we had EcoBank, who had already given us some debt. We also have AfroExim now, who are willing to also give us some capital. So the goal is not purely to raise capital. We're also mining. And so we're raising some money. Last season we did quite well. This coming season we'll do even much better. The money that MIF gave to us was for some engineering works that have been completed. Well, not fully completed, but are ongoing. And that would increase the production. So as we increase production, we're selling definitely is more revenue. So the goal is not purely revenue in terms of income or bringing in more money. Going on the stock market, but the goal, as I said earlier, is let's create something that everybody can own a piece of. But in the process, obviously, we want to raise more capital through equity rather than debt as well. So we're not over leveraged.
So how much are you targeting to raise through this offer?
We're looking at equivalent of, in CD terms, equivalent of about $30 to $40 million.
That's quite huge.
The project is huge. The project is exciting, but it wouldn't be the largest that has been raised on the stock market. Also looking at what our book runners have done, and so far the book building that we've done, I think we probably will be oversubscribed.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of Global Ovations, Gideon Raji, has advised businesses to be innovative in order to be able to stay ahead of their competition and thrive in a highly challenged environment. He said businesses need to adopt new strategies to be balanced to meet the changing needs of customers. He spoke to Joy Business at the 2024 National Business Harness.
The event, which was under the theme Driving Growth and Innovation, empowering businesses for a resilient future in a recovering economy, witnessed industry leaders and trailblazers from numerous institutions involved in driving the economy to reward and honor leaders who are at the forefront of innovation and sustainability in a recovering economy. Founder and Chief Executive Officer at Global Ovations, Gideon Raji, commended the efforts of Ghanaian businesses amidst the current economic challenges.
In this current economy, it takes only innovation to survive. And so to be able to come out with new strategies to meet demands of consumers, to meet the demands of customers, I think it's a big deal for every company to still survive, because you see, if you should follow what is going on, you may end up, we can see businesses shutting down, people moving away and all that. And so if companies have created innovations, created good initiatives to sustain their business, I mean, we at Global Ovations see it to be a very great honor for us to also let them shine while they keep up their hard work.
Vice Chancellor at the Ghana Communication Technology University, Professor Emmanuel Hine Afuakwa, urged Ghanaians to demonstrate political maturity for peaceful polls.
It is very, very important for us to recognize the fact that we have one country, and that is Ghana. And we can't have a second country. And it is our responsibility to ensure that the peace that we are all enjoying in Ghana is maintained. And therefore, if we do have a responsibility, every one of us within the country should ensure that the way we do our things will lead to a peaceful election, and then thereafter the election there will be sustained peace, so that we'll continue to live in peace in this country. Otherwise, if we are not able to sustain the peace that we are enjoying now and there is chaos, we don't have anywhere to go. Because if you will realize, all the countries around us are French-speaking countries, and we are the only speaking country, because you go to our left, it's French-speaking, you go to our right, it's French-speaking.
The National Business Harness 2024 also highlighted the pivotal role of visionary leaders in shaping the future of business and driving the nation's economic revival.
Thanks so much for being part of Business Live for today. I am Pius Kojobaka. We've got more stories for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.